Hello gamers, and welcome back to my critically acclaimed, award-winning series, Is Chat Smarter Than a Fifth Grader? Or at least I would have got that if I would have named it that if I wasn't going to get sued for copyright infringement, but you get the idea. Peak and no. Well, last time it was fairly close. You know, Chat scored 2, Doritos scored 3. Not a bad record. Not a bad record. Although it did start 0-3, so things looked pretty rough at the start. But you guys came around once you embraced low-tech. With the Gremlins and the Brick Fleets being the ones to win. Is it Sunday? No. Hoping for some Prometheus Mark II? Well, we're going to give people a chance to vote. Just like last time. I think that's the best approach. My streamer bullies me by streaming on days that I'm working. Sometimes it just be like that. I would like to say that I am personally in your walls, or at least and I'm using that information to schedule the stream specifically when you're working. Like, not anybody else, specifically you, just so that you don't get the opportunity to watch. Because I am that spiteful. Or at least that would make sense if you did something that annoyed me, which you haven't yet. But don't worry, I'm looking for something to be annoyed at, so if you can provide me that excuse, then I will start doing that. So that's where those noises are coming from. Yes, it was me all along, Austin. It was me, Barry. Yes, that's right, it was me, Barry. I'm the one who pulled out the batteries from your alarm clock so that you would miss the stream. Alright. So, well, that's one option. We've got a Prometheus Mark II. Unfortunately, 500 kites is just too many. We're not going to be doing that. I know. It's the saddest thing ever. Alexa, play Despacito. It is time to cook, Jesse. Yes, it is time for chat to cook. So, I'm thinking, let's see, the first option's going to be Prometheus Mark II. Since someone suggested that. 240 kites it is. I think you're going to need to double check your math on that one, because kites are 2 deployment points, and we're not working with derelict operations here. Or maybe I should call it Prometheus LP. Alright, so that's 1. LP kite times 1. Ah yes, the strongest ship in the game, of course. Did you prepare a wheel of names for the enemy fleet? That's something we're going to do in the future. Today we're just going to focus on fighting threat. And nothing else. 4 paragons. Yeah, that would work, I guess. Although there is a problem of how do you get the... No, I guess you could take electronic warfare. You could take electronic warfare, and the threat does tend to sit near the top of the map, so it wouldn't be too hard to deploy 4 paragons. Giga Cannon, Anubis spam. I like that, actually. Anubis. Giga Cannon. Alright, let's get a third option in there. So, the Prometheus... Although it needs some kind of... The Prometheus would need some kind of supporting ship, though. Not just Prometheus. So I guess I'd throw in Luddic Path Brawlers. Yeah. So it's either the Prometheus Luddic Path fleet. Yeah, Prometheus plus Brawler LP. Anubis Giga Cannon. And some other third thing. Include a Shriek, please. I think you... Shrike, of course. That's what you meant. I was like, did you misspell Shrek? Did you accidentally put in an I? Because I don't have the Shrek mod installed, unfortunately. Invictus, not as a joke this time. Well, the Invictus won last time, so I don't really think you can call that a joke. Radiant Invictus, Afflictor Spam. We've already done Afflictor Spam. 4 Locust Pegasus? Maybe. Dooms. Normal Prometheus would be funny. It would be funny. And in some ways, lore accurate. I'm pretty sure in the lore, the Ludic Path has used regular Prometheus. Usually as a bomb, though. Unfortunately, we can't do that in the real game. Not without mods. We gotta try some tournament builds. 3 cigarettes. Normal legions. There was... Okay, let me see. Locust Pegasus. Yeah, we could do... Yeah. Sort of like a midline fleet. Alright, let's see if that works. Alright. What do the people want? The Ludic Path fleet? The Anubis Giga Cannon? Or the Pegasus with the midline fleet? Vote on your phones now to choose the next American Idol. Oh wait, no, that's the wrong... Sorry, wrong programming. My dementia's acting up a bit. None of those say Grendel. We'll get to Grendel later. Although, to be fair, we already know Grendel would win. As long as you build him correctly. The Grendel guy did it with 6. Imagine doing it with 7. Horrifying. That amount of power is too much for one man. Midline carriers filled with wasps. I mean, wasp spam could be funny. For sure. Grendel's just built better. I think you... No, Grendel's not just built better. It's built different. Actually, I should probably add more skill points. So you can just, yeah. Because I'm pretty sure what I did last time is I was just able to pick all of them. Like that. I think that's how it worked. Did I also take this? I don't think so. I'm actually not sure. We'll just go with this. This is good enough. Seven Grendels. I fly low tech. I don't understand these arcane higher numbers. I know. Low tech players can't really count, can they? But let me tell you. Once you get to number 8, there's no going back. 998 story points, very normal. Yes. Nothing unusual about it. Neither is this part. Just don't look... Just close your eyes. There's nothing going on here. I'm doing this legitimately. Alright, I think I'm seeing... I'm ready to close this poll. It looks like there's a pretty clear winner. Alright, is it gonna... There we go. There, it took a few seconds for it to process. 49% for the Anubis Giga Cannon. It's Giga Cannon time, said the Anubis. Alright. Add ship. Anubis. Should I just do 10 of these? Should I... I guess I could throw in something else. We'll start with 8. Move all these logistic ships to the back of the line. Of course, we're going to go grab some crew. Excellent. And we want Giga Cannons. Anubis by themselves are not going to do very well. We'll see. Ah, yes, budget test racked. I mean, they are both cruiser class, so it's not entirely wrong. See, 144. 104. So a Paragon would take up... Interesting. Or maybe I should just go all in on the Anubis plan. Anubis 2. It's kind of more in line with the theme here. And then we'll just throw in a Paragon for good measure. Because I do believe with the Doritos, I didn't take any combat skills for the player, But I'm pretty sure threat is going to be a bit harder. So it's probably fair to give him a bit of a fighting chance here. Oh, really? I'm one short. Interesting. Well, what if I said add skill points 1? What if I say that? Now I have enough points. Your arbitrary rules and limitations can't stop me, computer. What kind of threat fleets are we going up against? 1 fab. I'm hoping... We'll start with 1 fab. Although, to be honest, this is kind of the annoying thing about specifically fighting against threat, is I'm going to have to go find them, which is a little bit harder. Only Paladin... No, I can't do only Paladin, because the gimmick is Giga Cannon. Disco Ball Paragon is support for Anubis. Yeah, sure, why not? We'll do a Disco Ball Paragon instead of a regular Paragon. We'll go in silly mode with this one. There's a reveal command which might help. Sensor strength maximized. Ah, yes, 1 million sensor strength. This is normal. Would be funny to give them all the threat package and go Swarm Launcher. Yeah, it would be kind of funny. Although I would have to add in items for each of them individually, which would be mildly annoying. You need to do the quest to get the threat to appear, right? That is why I did that already. It's taken care of, because this is actually in the Pauline Bingus world, where we are the leader of the Bingus project. I just, created a separate save file and named it D's Nuts. Right, so I think we're looking at Giga Cannons. Lots of them. We'll go 20 of those, and I think 10 of these. Oh, right, of course. In the console, it's not called a Paladin, it's called Guardian. My mistake. My mistake, original gangster. I did not recognize your game. Yeah, flash bombers fit the... That seems right. Yeah. Flash bombers, of course. Flash bombers and heavy machine guns. This is certifiably the best way to play this. Just trust. Nothing could possibly go wrong. Anubis is going to overheat after 1 shot. It'll be fine. Wait, how is this possible? So flux dissipation is still in the red, but this is in the green? Doesn't this hurt them both by 40%? How does the math work on that? Wow, that sure doesn't make sense. Is it 1 short? Minus 28. No, it's like 3 short. I don't get it. Well, anyways. No, if it's green if it's above the base value, and it's red if it's below the base value. And the Anubis, because of design compromises, starts out red, when normally they would start, like a normal ship would start out yellow. And this ship is, well, of course, flux regulation gets you above the baseline stats, so these are green by default. So the fact that it's 35 caps gets us above the baseline value, but 35 vents doesn't. It's so weird, because 34 gets us exactly to the... Interesting. Alright. I think for officer, probably want the point defense skill. Let's see. We're going to want some of that. We're going to want one of those. Give me one of these and one of these. Definitely one of these. And that doesn't leave a whole lot. So I'm going to take one of those. Because we want this to reduce the flux cost. we want this to increase the range of the machine guns. And we'll take a little bit of extra defense for good measure. That seems fair. Alright, I think we've crafted the perfect officer in our first try. Flawless. Weapon flux per second lies, right? It does, yes. At least for the energy weapons, right? What's worse about it is you can't just double it, right? If you could just double this in your hand, then it would be fine. The problem is that the machine guns are using the normal mana flux. So actually, I've got to take this off, double that to 720, then add in the machine guns. That's another 240. But also, it doesn't account for energy weapon mastery. So really, it's not 720 because you got a minus 72. So it's 648 plus 240. So it's 888. I'm sure it'll be fine. This is a design with no flaws whatsoever. Did I make sure to give myself enough flash bombers? No, I didn't. I didn't give myself flash bombers at all. Flash 9. Add wing flash 9. There we go. Alright, now just gotta figure out the S mods, because this thing is gonna need a few. Definitely want an ITU. Turret gyros is also pretty tempting, because it is a point defense ship with point defense needs. Although the 10%, the 5% against destroyers and 10% against frigates is probably not going to be that useful, and it's already got the point defense skill, so I guess turret gyros is kind of less useful. Safety override, please. It'll fix the range difference problems. Well, that kind of makes it a whole waste to going for the elite point defense. We'll test this out, and then and if it's good enough in the simulator, then we'll go with that. And if it Alright, are we back? So just opened OBS. Alright. Game is loading back up. Yeah, this is the unfortunate reminder that I do in fact need a new computer, because my current one... Wait, how is there two chats? What's going on here? This is weird. Huh. Well, anyways. The unfortunate reminder that I do need a new computer, because as the weather gets warmer, it decides to stop working. No, YouTube, I do not need an AI chat summary. I can tell what's going on with my eyes and my reading comprehension. Please make it go away. There we go. I was kind of hoping it would react to my voice complaining about it and just disappear on its own, but I guess if you click on it, that scares it away. SMod hardened subsystems to your computer. Yeah, that's what I gotta do. Well, really the answer is I gotta turn down my... Gotta limit the power to the CPU, because for whatever reason, that helps. But it's weirdly weather dependent. Hey man, love the vids? Well, glad you like them, Anthony. Alright, so yeah, the frame rate's gonna probably be worse, but I think we can live with it. Fortunately, well, we gotta do that all over again. Although we didn't get that far into the process, so I guess it's not the end of the world, is it? Add Add skill points. 9. Okay, now we add ship Anubis 10. Add ship Paragon. Alright, we're doing good. We will survive. Yeah, probably. Maybe you should just redo the thermal paste under your cooler. I'm not sure it's the cooler, though, because it doesn't seem to be... It's really hard to say. Because it's not... Thermal shutoff would just shut off the computer, but it restarts on its own. So it seems to be more of a power supply problem, which they do degrade with age, as far as I understand it. So that, like, it's weird. But, like, it's like the power supply is, like, weather dependent, though. Yeah, it sounds like a power supply problem, but it's completely weather dependent. And it also is very affected by how much power I allow the CPU to have. So on a hot day, I've got to turn it down to like 20%, but on a cold day, I can have it up at 100%. Yeah, good luck with you. Bring it to your local pather. Yeah, it sounds like power supply having a stroke. This is literally my job. Well, perfect. We've got an expert. It might be as simple as replacing the power supply, but, well, I'd have to take it in. It's what I'm doing right now. Working on computers. Well, why don't you just... Look, I'm inside your walls. Why can't you just get inside my walls and fix the computer while I'm sleeping? That'd be real convenient. Although, yeah, isn't there something with, like, motherboard architecture got... there's like a security breach in motherboard architecture that's too old now? That's part of why people are being pushed to upgrade to new computers for Windows 11, something like that. I love how Google/YouTube feels the need to automatically generate a response summarizing the video before I even watch it. Well, how will you know it's going to be good if you don't get an AI slop summary? I mean, really, they're doing you a favor there. No, wait, hold on. Add weapon. Forgot I gotta do computer speak. Guardian 10. Add weapon. Heavy MG 20. Add wing flash 10. No, not flash 10. After replacing it by a voltage stabilizer, what exactly is a voltage stabilizer? Does that go in the computer, or is that something you plug the computer into? The architecture thing is mostly Windows propaganda, unless you're working with an enterprise and dealing with ultra-secret data, it's not a big deal. Ah, I see. It's like a power strip. Well, I do have like a backup power unit it's plugged into that's supposed to stabilize the voltage. So I'm just not sure it's the same thing you're talking about. Alright, let's try and rebuild. We can rebuild him stronger. Where's my machine gun? Did I not just add... there it is. Why is there only 5? I'm pretty sure... Oh, there it is. It was just a different one, of course. My mistake. It was in my car... Well, there's one in my cargo, and it's a bit annoying that these two are treated as separate. Although I understand it's just because of the way that regular markets are coded, so the stuff that you own gets split like this. If it's the battery one, it probably doesn't do what you need. I once had a lava lamp that killed 5 power supplies over a year till I figured out it was the lamp. Wow. That's unfortunate, Chris. Use 3 paladins, it's way better, trust me. But we're not looking to do what's better. We're looking to use giga cannons. Okay, I definitely typed in to add the wings. I guess I just did it wrong. Add wing flash 10. Easy. Well, we're not going to max out capacitors just yet. We're definitely maxing these out. Definitely getting a targeting unit. Do I need SMod bonuses in particular, or can I just go for more ordnance points? Probably not using any of this. We do want that. Maybe one of these. Maybe SMod these and then get like frontal shield convert. Do I really need... Oh, you know what? Stabilized shields is probably really better. That's probably better. Threat added. Well, thank you, Flying Scoots. And okay, I don't recognize that currency, but thank you. Indeed, threat is added. Although it's funny that you're commenting that on the time that I'm not using that as the thumbnail. Right, like the last 9 streams, the thumbnail for the stream was threat added. And this one, it isn't. It's great timing. That's what Norwegian kroners. They're called kroners? Damn, why can't our money be called cool stuff like that? Would you like some kroners? It sounds like... I'm not sure what it sounds. It sounds like something out of like a fantasy novel that like an evil wizard would try to tempt some young children with. Like, oh, but would you like some kroners? Then come to me with my wizard hut, young boy. Or probably a witch, really. Because she's going to eat them. And then, like, they use, like, a trail of... Instead of a trail of breadcrumbs, it's like a trail of kroners leading back to the witch hut. And then they fall into a cauldron. Like, that's a... Computer, generate 10 fully crewed Anubis Cruisers with Giga Cannons. Give them safety rides and shield shunt. Well, it would be nice if it was that easy, but unfortunately AI is only used to generate sloppy images, not to actually automate processes that are very tedious. You know, creativity is a lot easier to rip off than tedious processes, somehow. "15 caps might be better than hearted shields in terms of durability." Probably not, actually. Because each capacitor's adding only 120 instead of the regular 200. So, or pound for pound, hardened shields is better on the Anubis than it is on other ships. Expanded magazine thumpers. No. Probably not. Alright, let's just quick save, since we've made some progress. You know, just in case something bad happens. Automatic voltage regulator. UPS often do not have them, especially shitty ones. Alright, well, I am actually going to open a Google tab. Automatic voltage regulator. Just going to Google search that and shove that as... And then I'm going to take that Google search and make a bookmark so that I can find that later. Because that might be really useful for me. No, I don't think I'm going to build in an armored weapon mount. I think I'm going to go with stabilized shields. Although with flux dissipation being an issue, maybe the shield efficiency might actually be better. Something like that. And then we just get a bunch of capacitors. How's that look? Looking pretty good. Yeah, 11,000. It's not bad. Then I just need to get the officer again. I think this is going to be the build, though. So we're going to call that the build. You know what would be nice in dev mode? You know what would be a nice feature to make dev mode easier to use? Is if your build copying... Like, it has the S-mods there. So imagine if going, like, just using this template also copy the S-mods over instead of having to do that manually. I mean, the number of people this would benefit would be really small, but it would be nice. AI automates many boring tasks. It just isn't talked about by the internet. That might be true. I certainly haven't heard of it automating too many boring tasks. Because, you know, there's a lot of things that are already automated just by algorithms and not ChatGPT. I'm loving the frontal paladin. Yeah, this is... When people say Giga Cannons, triple's probably too much, but I figure we can get away with 2. Why not use heavy mass drivers instead of machine guns? Definitely for flux purposes. 0.38 efficiency is a lot better than 0.7, even though 0.7 is already really good. Alright, now I've got to copy... do we want aggressive... Yeah, we're going to want aggressive officers. Okay. For sure. Absolutely got to be aggressive. There's simply no other way. Okay, not going to be that. Not going to be that. Not going to be you. And not going to be you. I have created you, and now I will destroy you. Because you are suboptimal. Goodbye. Wow. Only 4 of you even stood a chance. That's unfortunate. It really says a lot about society. And by society, in this case, I mean me. And you get full... Wow, I didn't even have to mentor you. I guess it was destiny. The right man for the right job. Alright, I guess we'll just throw him in the simulator, see how he does. Why not mentor so you get 6 choices? Because if we hold... Because you can use mentoring to re-roll their skills. So you wait until you get the wrong... So you just pick the skills naturally, and then when you get to a level where you don't get the skills, you mentor and you can re-roll. Yeah, in fact, what you could do is you quick save, and then you mentor, and if you still don't get the right choices, then you reload and do it again, and you get a new set of choices. Yeah, I really should get around to making, I don't know, maybe a YouTube short explaining that. I don't know if it deserves a full video, but at least a YouTube short. And then I can point people to that and say, here's and it'll be like a quick, snappy summary with like some nice editing. Here's but I've got to come up with like a really annoying kind of like TikTok-y intro. Because that's what gets the kids' attention, right? So it'll be like, here's top 1 secret tricks about Starsector that you didn't know. Number 1. Actually, I don't think anyone's done a top 1 before. There's lots of top 5, top 10, top, whatever other number people feel like doing. But nobody's done a top 1 before. That's some untapped potential there. Burger King foot lettuce voice. Yeah, exactly. Number 9. Number 15. Burger King foot lettuce. The last thing you want. Wait, hold on. I've got to make this Starsector themed, though. And I've also got to be doing these while I do it. Number 15. Mazalot foot lettuce. The last thing you want on your Anubis ship is S-modded foot fungus. But if you buy from Mazalot, it turns out that might be what you get. Yeah, I think I want these 3. But okay, if I want to do this quickly, I've got to put those in. Wait, hold on. I've got to do this. And then make that its own template. and then copy that template first round. I've used quick console commands a lot, so I figured out some of the faster ways of doing this, which is like this. Exciting gameplay. Actually, you know what would be better than this? Better than the thing I said before. Well, you'll be way better, is to just copy-paste a ship. That's the real answer. But the world isn't ready for that. Riveting. Bro rehearsed this. The last thing you'd want in your tachyon lance is somebody's flux fungus. Ah, I see. You've replaced the word foot with the word flux because they both start with the letter F and results in better alliteration. That is a clever and humorous way of doing things. Really wish I thought of it. Right, let's quick save. Copy paste is too much power for mortal eyes. Precisely. Let's see. Let's get you. Let's get you. I am going to need more people, though. We're going to have to use the send dudes command. Computer, send dudes. I'm sorry, sir. Did you mean send nudes? No, I said send dudes. I'm in a fight. I need men. Actually, that would be funny. Is if you try to do the send dudes meme, but your phone autocorrects to nudes. And then you've got to awkwardly explain that you were actually trying to do just a crappy meme, and that you did not intend to say that. Oh, you don't understand. I just meant to do a meme. You gotta believe me. Now that would be the plot of that would be a good plot for like a low budget, or at least that would be a good inciting incident for like a low budget anime, I think. Is, of course, nobody believes you when you try to correct the whole mistake, and then wacky hijinks ensue. Have you played Brigador? It has Livewell Cotton as playable character. I have not played Brigador. There has to be a mod to generate officers with the skills you want, right? Well, there's a mod that lets you down level your officers, but it does not. Unfortunately, down leveling them also removes their XP. So for like playing through the campaign, that's convenient. But for these purposes here, it's kind of useless. It's only awkward if you don't get the nudes. That's true. If she turns out to be into it, then it's not awkward at all. It's just accidental riz, as they say. Anime title, I'm losing a war in space, but I keep getting sent nudes. Because it turns out the enemy commander is into me. It's got to be overly long and overly descriptive. I've seen a few animes in my time, okay? I understand how that sort of thing works. Well, he's already failed. Unfortunate. But instead, I've moved past who I was like 5 seconds ago when I threw all of those people out into space. I'm a new person, which is why instead of throwing you out into space, I'm going to mentor you. You get a second chance. 1, 2, 3, 4. And look at that. You did it. Congration. You done it. Or sorry, hold on. I've got to put more energy into that. Congration. You done it. I wonder if I could make a channel just voicing random memes like those other people did. You know the ones. those guys who just like, well, they have actual voice acting careers, but then as a side thing, they just also voice random memes on the internet. Of course, the first person to notice the Pakunk emote. Yes, I did add the Pakunk, although now I'm realizing that I should have split them into like 2 images. I think for the next stream I'll do that, because they're too small. I should have just put, yeah, I should have just split them down the middle and then created like the eye on the left and the front of the beak on the right. Wait, you are not a voice actor? No. Although I probably could be, given how much people seem to like my voice impressions. But then again, I assume that there's more to the industry that I don't quite grasp, and, you know, I've got to be humble in this and not just assume that by having an audience that likes me that I would naturally be good at it automatically. You know, I like to, you know, because that's the kind of thing. I've seen a movie in my time where a cocky hotshot comes in thinking they're all that, and then they have to be humbled, and then they have like a character arc. I want to get ahead of the curve and just kind of assume that I don't know what I'm doing at the start, but, you know, assume that there's a lot to learn. You could totally make a couple bucks on Fiverr back in the day. What do you mean back in the day? Is it not possible now? You mean Gianni Montegrano. I think that's the first time I've said his name out loud, but yeah, that's the one. I think there's another one, like, what's his name, Luke Skywalker? He is so humble, truly a great voice actor. One of the best. And my humility is my best quality. It's why I'm better than everyone else. Dating in the Persian sector be like, only swipe right if you have field modulation. But I have no idea what skills are good, so I just eject good officers. Absolutely based. Well, I guess there was a spike in popularity around COVID. Yeah, that would make sense. All online content got a spike in popularity during COVID. We can say that without getting nuked from orbit now, right? We can call it COVID now. Because there was a period where people avoided saying the word COVID. You know, the COVID word, that one, people would avoid saying it because it would get them demonetized. But I can say COVID now, I think. Although, given that it's me, I would probably say it by accident during that period anyways. Or maybe I would say it on purpose and then pretend it was by accident. That's just as likely, honestly. Man, some of you guys are doing great and getting up to like 8 skills in one go, and some of you got literally nothing. Gotta shake the 8-ball for the day. Yeah, you totally didn't just make it 1000% worse if we can't. Well, that's part of the way I do. That's how I do things here, right? You see, I'm gonna say it either way, but I'm gonna pretend that I'm like shocked, right? That's part of what makes it so fun. It's like you keep doing the thing, and then if it turns out to be bad, you act shocked and like, oh my god, I could not have seen this coming. Or on the flip side, it turns out it's totally okay, in which case I see this as an absolute win. We subscribe to the school of doubling down here, absolutely. In fact, I'd say doubling down is for cowards. You need to quadruple down. Bit sad to see all these good officers going into the gigabuses. Well, that's an interesting way of calling them. I just find it funny if you F2 on top of a planet, it's codex. Wait. Huh? What do you mean by that? F2 a planet. I mean, there's conditions here. That's pretty cool. Stars and planets. Oh, wait. Terran. Habitable. Toxic. Wait, you're telling me that toxic... Terran is associated with habitable, but toxic is not associated with toxic atmosphere. Okay, buddy. Yeah. For sure. See, look. Wait, you're telling me these aren't associated with extreme heat? Alright, the game is now literally unplayable. The codex does not properly associate toxic atmosphere with toxic planets. The game is literally unplayable. How could they release it in such an unfinished state? I've really been betrayed. No need to be toxic now. Well, you know what we said about doubling down earlier. You didn't get combat endurance? Really? On a ship with temporal shell, that's... On another ship, I might be happy to just take helmsmanship as a substitute. But on a ship with temporal shell, you really gotta get combat endurance. There we go. Flawless. That's a good officer right there. But man, I didn't even reduce the CPU power that much, and it's clearly... well, we've gone longer without the computer crashing, so hopefully that holds up during combat, but the frame rate has noticeably gotten worse. Although, hopefully that doesn't actually end up going through to the stream, because that's on 30 FPS anyways. So, yeah, like, the game's at, like, 40... Now, it's like, if it goes down to, like, 35 FPS, that's only going to bother me, but for stream, it's already at that FPS anyways. So, I guess if I don't complain about it, no one will notice. I'm going to complain about it every time it happens. Alright, I do want that. Wow, you got it. Good job. I'm so proud of you. Frame rate and overheating issues. Well, the reason that we're having frame rate issues is because to prevent the computer from shutting off, I have to turn down the power limitation on my CPU. Because that's the only thing I can do. So what is the theme? High-tech fleet again? The theme is Anubis with Giga Cannon. Because today, I don't know if you saw the last chat builds my fleet, military history, but the way that it works is that people suggest things in chat, and then I pick out 3 of the suggestions and have people vote on them. Alright, yeah, so we gotta just double check that I've saved. Ah, democracy. I love democracy, is what a wise man once said. And he never did anything wrong, so it must be the best way of running things. I say that like there's some kind of sarcastic twist there, but then again, he was lying, so... I'm not sure where I'm going with that. Chat fleet equals meme fleet. I mean, you could call it a meme fleet all you want. They did win a couple of rounds last time. They did win a couple of rounds. Chat is not completely cooked. They're just mostly cooked. Do you have mods? Well, I've got console commands, and that is a mod. But that's it. Otherwise, this is vanilla. You guys have to work with vanilla tools to solve a vanilla problem. Yet it is kind of hard not to notice when like a YouTube channel pops up and it's got like the gray box around it because it's what's the word, verified? Yeah. Full vanilla power fleet versus Star Fortress and Threat would be quite interesting. Yeah, I think so I have been throwing around the idea of doing a civilian run, but I think just doing civilian ships would be too tedious. But if it was like civilian plus pirate ships, I think that could work. Although first I want to do an automated ships run, because that could be even crazier. Especially since that's something that's only newly possible with the new patch. Why is one Anubis cheaper than the others? Huh? You're right. Oh, I know why. It's because the difference is the combat readiness. Because the more combat readiness they have, the more they sell for. I was confused. You got me for a second there. You got me. Yeah, that's a good prank. But no, it's just the combat readiness. So you can theoretically put an officer on a ship to sell it for more. Well, the thing is, you would have to wait for the combat readiness to go up, which is going to cost you supplies. So you wouldn't actually be making more out of it because you're spending the supplies. You'd probably make less overall. All right, let's get one of those and one of those. Hey, look at that. We're getting close. Then we've just got to do a Disco Ball Paragon and the threat. Well, I don't think they stand a chance. Giga Cannon Anubis. It's the strongest ship in the game. I have a peer-reviewed study backing up that statement. POV, RAR selling an Atlas at 0% CR for 500 credits. Yeah, exactly. If you're at 0% CR, they sell for nothing. You're better off... And I think that's generally part of the game design, is you're better off scrapping them. That's like a deliberate choice. And Giga Cannon Paragon is a pretty good meme, but someone did say Disco Ball Paragon first. And we already have Giga Cannons on the Anubis, right? Let's get a little variety in here. We don't want our fleet to appear too one-dimensional. Am I missing point defense? Damn. We got all the way to the end, and he messed up on the last one. Hello all. Hello Petrov. Hello, or, not Petrov. Petrosit. There's a V at the end, and I added it to the first name. Disco Ball might unironically be good for shooting down all the fragments. It might be. Like all those swarms that run away after you kill a ship. And just all the fragments in general that they spawn, yeah. It could legitimately be good. So that covers all the Anubises. Did you build that fleet and officers with custom next art? No, I built this using console commands. I just spawned them in. Chat votes on the ship, and then I do some builds and spawn them in. Now, Tachyon Lance... Oh, who am I kidding? How can I not do a Tachyon Lance for a disco build? High-intensity lasers are for nerds who want to optimize and actually make good builds. This is a Disco Paragon. We don't need any of that. A lot of my friends ended up watching the tournament because it showed up on our feeds around the same time. Do you know when the next tournament might be? Well, I know submissions for fleets end in 3 days. So, given that, it's probably going to take like a week or two after that. So it might start, depending on how fast he works, might be like late May or early April. Or no, April was last month. May. June, that's the one I was looking for. Speaking of, I haven't actually finished my fleet. So, I'm just gonna, I'll just throw something together. We'll see. I have no idea what's going to be good. It's going to be completely crazy and chaotic. It's going to be awesome. You know what? Turret, S-modding repair units might have actually been a good call, given how much they mess with you. In this one. Given how much EMP they throw at you. So, we'll see. Yeah, I guess we'll do that. Gotta get hardened. Flux distributor. Throw in one of those. Throw in one of these. Get that. Where... Okay, I've definitely passed over... Yeah, advanced optics. Yeah, I guess I'll throw in salamanders. Call it like that. Disco Paragon. Ladies and gentlemen, Disco Paragon has entered the building. Oh no, I've got a better idea. It's not Disco Inferno, it's D Inferno. Because you see, it could be referring to Dante's Inferno. But, like, so, you know, people think it's like a smart literary reference. But actually it's referring to the song Disco Inferno because it's a Disco Paragon. You see, I tricked you into thinking I was being smart, but I was actually just being even smarter. Because Disco Inferno is a song for the Gigabrains. Yeah, featuring Dante from the Disco May Cry series. Exactly. There is also Disco Elysium. Yeah, that's another thing with disco in the name. Need Gorgons. Oh, that's not a bad idea, actually. I'll give you that. If I get into the tournament as your local town supporter, I demand to fight you. I see. Well, you're gonna have... We'll have to see about that. Alright, I think that's everything. Can you fight Threaten Simulator? We might be able to if, in console command. No. Apparently in dev mode you can't. Although I'm pretty sure before you could. In fact, before you could fight Threat in the missions. So the fact that it's not here with dev mode activated is a bit odd. Well, whatever. It's time to go to the Abyss. Oh, is dev mode not on? Oh, my mistake. It wasn't on. That's why. There we go. Now we can fight whatever we want. Threat? Sure. I don't even have to... Oh, that's so beautiful. I don't even have to fly around the Abyss looking for these guys. We can spawn them here. Although it does kind of change things a little bit because there's no capture points, I guess. But at the same time, I think that's probably better because it means that we can get stupider with our fleet compositions and still fight without having to worry about deployment points. So yeah, I just forgot that after my computer crashed that dev mode was not on anymore. My mistake. Smaller map, though. That's probably for the better, so it just doesn't take forever. Check if the Fabs can spawn ships. I mean, they should be able to, right? It really doesn't... Oh, look at that. It really does not want to generate a group with the Fabricator. Alright, hold on. Let's do a little math on this one. We're going to do 200. 200 deployment points, 2 fabric. We'll do that. The small map site making the fight way more easier. Okay, if we win this one, we'll go fight the real thing. First, let's see if Chat's Abomination can actually beat them in the simulator. We'll start here, alright? Let's work up towards our grand ambitions. We ain't winning this one, and you know that. I don't know that. Giga Cannon Anubis. It still has a Paladin. Flash Bombers. Those are pretty good. Man, the game is really slowed down. Yeah, I'm going to try getting that voltage regulator, see if that fixes my problem. Maybe it'll get better if I zoom in. Not really. Yeah, the FPS is at a stunning 15. Truly incredible. Let's get a closer look at how these guys are doing. See, look, I think the Flash Bomber, like the Flash Bombers and the Paladins, probably have a good matchup against these things because they're so reliant on the swarms. The fact that they have Giga Cannons is a bit silly, but might be good enough. And their shields aren't that strong, so the machine guns should be enough. And the Giga Cannons can do some serious damage. Look at that. It's working. He's beginning to believe. Yeah, as soon as you zoom out, the frame rate dies, so let's not do that. As cool as it is to see the whole battlefield. And they are building up a ton of soft flux, but they're not completely fluxing out. So I guess it's good enough. And look at this fabricator. This idiot drove to the front. Like the fool he is. They have S-mods. Oh, did I give them S-mods? Wait, hold on. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, the real thing... So, they definitely... Considering they went up to 240, they can definitely still fabricate ships in the simulator. Also, they don't normally have S-mods, so this might actually be harder than the real thing. A frame in a dream. Just call it slow-mo. Yeah. That'll work. So we're good to kill the real thing. Well, if we look at our team, we're not losing anything. Even against S-modded ones. So, drop the S-mods in favor of more space. Yeah, I think the real thing is going to also crumble and die. When most folk watch it at 2 times speed, they won't notice a thing. Absolutely fucking true. Because as we all know, YouTube viewers don't have the patience to watch things at normal speed. They just watch everything at least 1.5. It's one of the few advantages of TikTok brain rot. You can have a crappy frame rate, and no one's even gonna know. I mean, one of the fabricators is already dead. Alright, let's go fight the real thing. Hopefully with a better frame rate, but we have no idea. Okay, so it actually took a couple seconds for the background to fade out. Interesting. The only problem is, you better believe, yep, it's going to give me a million of these damn lights, and it's not going to give me gravity wells. It's not going to give me any gravity wells, is it? It's going to give me all these lights. The demons want to say hello, but not threat. Don't worry, I watch all your videos at 0.25 rate to drive up engagement. Excellent. Use reveal. All right, that's probably also off. There we go. I don't think there's anything in here. Just teleport around a little bit. Yeah, I think this one's dead. We've got a gravity well, but unfortunately, No dice. Wait a minute. Last time it gave me 1 million sensor strength. This time it's giving me 2 million sensor strength. What the hell's going on here? You can turn sensors to false with Control Z on dead mode. Sensors true. What does that mean? I don't get it. Oh, I guess with sensors false. Sensors false means you can see everything. This makes sense. Do I actually have to drive around in the abyss? Because the lights are spawning on their own. But apparently not the gravity wells. How odd is that? Where are all the damn gravity wells? Is it worth it to S-Mod stabilize shields? Sometimes. See, look at that. Another light. Alright. This is, let's see if we can fight some demons, because apparently those are the only things that show up. I swear, before this patch, there was more gravity wells, and they all disappeared in favor of more lights. It is demon time. Alright, we get battle stations. Oh, hey, look at that. There's a frame rate. Maybe I should be making this stream about demons instead, because the frame rate is there. Unlike Threat. Wait, are we sure this is... I was going to say, where... This is way too small, considering I set it to the hardest difficulty, but the maelstroms are all the way back there. Oh, you know what's killing my frame rate? It's these damn flash bombers. Okay, the Giga Cannon Anubis just annihilating the tendrils, so that's a good start. Flash bomber moment, yeah. That's why you never trust an automated ship, even if it's just fighter class. But hey, the Anubis are doing a good job killing these things. I think in a real battle, I'd probably go with, to be fair, with if I was really playing the game, that soft flux is pretty scary, so I would go with 2 paladins and 1 Giga Cannon. I think it's more realistic. But the concept works. Especially elite point defense with 2 paladins and 2 machine guns seems really solid. I don't know what this guy is doing. He does not know how to go backwards. Retreat is not in his vocabulary. Everyone else is keeping a sensible distance, but not this guy specifically. He is all in. Without giving them commands, the eye will cause problems. I mean, so far it's been fine, mostly just because it's getting body blocked by its teammates. I think the Anubis can probably tank it for long enough. I mean, it is soft, it's a beam, so it's soft flux damage. All the Anubis has to do is stop shooting, and then it'll probably be fine. It's got a lot of shield efficiency, so that soft flux is not going to be a lot. But yeah, they have no problems killing this thing. Man, this is so much easier than trying to use, like, fighters and frigates. Just use the Anubis. Best ship in the game, 10 out of 10. Haven't seen any of the new content until today. Demons are the freakiest things I've ever seen in this game. No, yeah, that's the demons are not Threat. Threat is something else. Which, I mean, even though Alex kind of spoiled what Threat was going to look like in his posts announcing the update. We knew it was coming. We knew there was something called Threat. But the addition of hyperspace demons, there was absolutely no spoilers for it. He did not. He managed to keep these completely under wraps. You only discovered them by playing the game, which is kind of a nice approach. Like, he adds 2 new factions, and sort of like gives us a lot of hints at one of them, and then the other one just completely doesn't tell us anything. Yeah, it does look like, for the most part, the Anubises are able to last long enough that the eye is not quite able to kill them. Although it is able to get some damage in. Flash bombers are too busy using your CPU to mine crypto. Pretty good fleet so far. Yeah, they're holding up. Although this guy is getting cornered by tendrils and is struggling. I mean, but all they've got is kinetic damage and EMP. So... I mean, yeah, they really don't... I guess they do have a Rift Lightning as well. But I'm pretty sure that has, like, less hit strength than... It's got the same DPS as a Heavy Blaster, but less hit strength. So... yeah, okay, with the weapon setup the Tendrils have, they've got kinetic damage, EMP, and Rift Lightning, which means that they're going to be pretty bad against low-tech. It's probably a big part of why the fights feel the way that they do, is that the Tendrils, which are the most numerous type of demon, are going to be really good against, like, high-tech ships, especially frigates, and they're really bad against low-tech ships. Now, I have D-mods. I could reload the save. Or I could just get the skill to remove them. And repair. Yeah. Have you seen the new variant screen and looked at the shroud? What do you mean variant screen? I don't know what you mean by variant screen, but I have looked at the shroud. Now, if only I could look at some threat. Where are all the damn gravity wells? I just want to fight a real threat. A real live threat in its... I don't want to fight threat in a zoo. I want to fight it in its natural habitat. Wait, can you find more gravity wells if you go off the map? Is that how it works? Yeah, because they don't seem to spawn in if you just tell... See, the abyssal lights did spawn in as I'm teleporting around. But for some reason, the gravity wells just aren't. Maybe I need to go into a system and then pop back out. Nope, that was not even a real thing, unfortunate. Oh, wait, I got both of them somehow. Huh. Interesting. Yeah, all these damn lights are showing up. Look at all of them. There's so many lights. They just keep showing up. But gravity wells? Nah. Alright, I'm going to go into system and then pop back out and see if that, like, resets the spawning. God, it's like this damn abyss is empty or something. I know. It's pretty crazy. Yeah, let's try turning them back to normal. You need the scanner thing from the threat mission. I already have that. Already got that covered. Nope, these are still here. That's not real. That's not real. Oh, look, another light. But of course, this one has demons, so I don't want to deal with this right now. So it just keeps, like, the game's algorithm is just spawning tons of lights, but no gravity wells. Alright, let's try going way out here, past Limbo. We are off the map. Is there any gravity wells out here? Hello? Is there a reward for vanquishing the demons? Yeah, you can get some unique items. Oh, look, another light. Oh, finally, a gravity well. Yeah, the ratio seems really off. There's like 5 times as many gravity wells as anything else. Ah, and we can see this one's definitely got some threat. What does the Starliner have to say? Details from long-range optical scans are confirmed. The hull bears corporate registration and the crest of the Chartery of Opus, which was annihilated in 181. Interesting. The only body found aboard is the former captain sitting at his command console, desiccated eyes fixed ahead at the suffocating nothingness of deep space. Behind the CIC, in the Armored Computer Center, there's a Tritakion-manufactured AI core interface, just sitting there unassuming out in the open. A perfectly casual commercial hardware installation. This dates the ship back further to before the AI wars. Huh. To find a hint of what happened and why, but the memory banks have all been cleared by a repeated wipe program that continued until backup power faded. Well, this is interesting because pretty much... So it seems like every time there's like a lore dump from a ship that was clearly dismantled by threat, they always seem to wipe the memory banks. Which is interesting. Fun fact, there's flavor text for ships in the Abyss. Yes. Well, the problem... So... Yes, you can spawn in fleets from a faction, like you can spawn threat, but the problem is a lot of the time the fleets you spawn will have a bunch of demods. Did threat take the AI core then? Oh, they probably did something. So it doesn't seem like any of them are moving towards me. Oh, I guess they didn't see me. So now there's 4 of them. Yeah, they're all just hanging out there. Alright, let's start by going second strike, third strike, second strike. Interesting. Yeah, so these two are obviously second strike. They've got 2 fabricators. This one's also second strike because it's got 1 fabricator and a ton of stuff. But this one is the third strike because it's got 3. Even though it doesn't have much support. Threat would have unfabricated. That's the question about it, right? Because it seems like it was destroyed by... Well, something happened because the AI core is missing and there's some kind of program repeatedly wiping out the memory banks all the way up until power run out. So there's some kind of conspiracy going on there. But you would assume that if it was the threat, that they would have just unassembled the ship entirely. Ah, yes, of course, a quick save. Right. Let's just casually move over here. Although we might end up fighting multiple at the same time at this rate. Not that that makes much of a difference. There's got to be some way to sort of peel them apart. Well, okay, that helps. Let's see if we can do the disengage to kind of stun them. How many does it stun? Just the 1. Okay. And apparently for like 2 seconds. Alright, I guess we'll just fight these two. It's fine. Actually, I wonder how that energy sig in the gas giant ties to threat. I don't actually think it was threat that killed the ship, but a mutiny with how only the captain was left behind and all the memories were wiped. Yeah, well, if it was a mutiny, it really didn't go too well, because the ship is still here. So, I guess everyone died. Can't you disengage one? Well, the thing is, disengage has like an area of effect, where it stuns multiple fleets in an area. In this case, they're right next to each other, but it looks like we're only fighting the one, so maybe specifically threat, they don't reinforce each other. That might be how they work. Oh, that's interesting. They don't actually have enough stuff to reduce your deployment points at the start. Although that might be down to having best of the best, but still. What if Tritech sent old ship AI to study threat without arousing any form of suspicion, and maybe the AI car... I don't... Well, if they were studying threat in the past, then they had to, like, lose access to those archives. Because it seems for the most part, Tritachyon... Well, I guess she is aware that there's something, because she wants us to study it, but they don't have a lot of information on it. It did, like, the text did mention Tritachyon, so maybe. Maybe, Chris. It would be easier since the fabricators would gobble up too many DP. Well, the thing is, having more fabricators does not make it easier, because the fabricators themselves use less deployment points than the cruisers. So yeah, technically they use up some of the deployment points, but it's only 20 per fabricator. They are really meant to be a boss fight. I mean, so far the Anubis is doing pretty good, I'd say. Flash bombers and threats, you know, eating my frame rate aside, yeah, they seem to be doing pretty good. Yeah, let's see, if I pull up the codex right now, you can see right up here, deployment points 20. And it's kind of crazy that this is about the maximum zoom normally, and then you get dev mode and it's like, actually you can see all of this. Kind of makes the game feel a bit claustrophobic once you get used to dev mode. But hey, that's just a game theory. No wait, I said it wrong. You're not supposed to say game the first time you say it. My bad, Chris. Threat do seem to be inundating, evolving, if slowly. Yeah, I think the best, based off of the lore tidbits we have, the best understanding is, like, the game explicitly says they're too stupid to qualify as an artificial intelligence. So it basically, and the designs that they have are mostly like 50% match old domain ships, but they're like, don't 100% match, right? But the fact that they have a 50% match means that they're probably based off of those original designs, but they've just, you know, been modified in some way. But it can't be like an intelligent design, because, again, they don't qualify as an artificial intelligence. So the best way to look at them is probably that they're like a nanoforge that's sort of run out of control, and it's been replicating these old designs over and over and over. And as it does, there's a sort of drift. I forget. Yeah, I think the term is drift that they use for just like an AI, a self-replicating AI that slowly deviates from its original programming. Something along those lines. Too stupid for being an AI, so they're bureaucrats. No, because if they were bureaucrats, they would have to be a really annoying streamer first, like that one guy who got elected to a position in the EU. What was his name? He had the blue hair, and he went on a bunch of trains in Japan where he was a stowaway. He's like trying to like travel around for free. Genetic drift, self-replicating automata. Yeah, exactly. Extinction bomb. Ninja. No, that's a different annoying streamer. Vermin Supreme. Nobody named Vermin Supreme could be bad. It's not. It's just not possible. They seem so. Yeah, exactly. Universal paperclip machine. Which, given the way that the nanoforges work, seems like it could be possible, right? The nanoforges are just like self-replicating nanomachines that are kept in line, and they don't go beyond their programming because that's the way the domain designed them. So it would make perfect sense if, before perfecting nanoforge technology, earlier versions went out of control and became the threat, which would explain, in turn, why they're so heavily, like, copyright protection is such a heavy thing in this universe, is not to protect, not originally at least, in the future maybe mega corporations abuse that technology, but the original design of that whole, like, replicate, like, the way that, like, design chips are so heavily protected and restricted might originally be to prevent something like this from happening again. Maybe they're a distributed kind of intelligence. Well, it could be, you could look at it more as like through errors in self-replication, they sort of evolve. Which is more or less how genetic evolution works. It's like there's variability in the population, and then natural pressures cause some of those variances to be more desirable than others. Right, and so the same thing could happen to a self-replicating nanomachine, is that occasionally, there's like a bit of cosmic radiation causes a bit to flip from a 0 to a 1, which on Earth normally causes Mario to reach a higher level in a video game sometimes. But for a self-replicating nanomachine could cause them to replicate the design slightly differently. And if it turns out to be beneficial, then that version would end up creating more replicants of itself. So eventually it takes over the population, that sort of thing. What pressure, though? Well, they were fighting... considering the domain seemed to be designing the old slot to fight these things. I guess some original deviation in their programming caused them to become violent, and then past that point their pressure was just fighting the domain. Although whether or not they were originally designed for combat, some of the lore does hint at that, because apparently they were used to fight a rebellious planet, but whether or not that was their intent, or they're deployed specifically for that purpose, or it was some kind of mistake, I'm not really sure, because the lore is pretty vague. Copyright protection as electronic telomere limits. Exactly. That's not a sentence I think any scientist was expecting to hear, or any sci-fi enjoyer was expecting to hear, but it is a very interesting concept that actually makes sense. Are those insignias on the big threat ship? No, I think that's just ribbing. It's probably producing like threat fragments inside the ship, and then sort of like an opening for the fragments to escape. If they're originally some kind of corrupt nanoforge, then they aren't violent. Oh yeah, that's true, right? It might, like, they're not, like, violent in the sense that they're hostile, but rather they were just told to self-replicate, and they view your ships just as materials. They do tell you to go unfabricate yourself when you meet them. So it's not like a hostile evolution, it's just maybe they self-replicated a little bit too much, and the part of their code that says don't unfabricate random things that you find, and instead that part just got deleted by accident. Like the part that differentiates between stuff that is and isn't allowed to be unfabricated. There's just a little bit of an oopsie, and that part of the code got deleted. Just a minor mistake, really. You should unfabricate yourself now. You serve zero purpose. You need to be reificated. New TikTok brain aneurysm. I'm pretty sure someone's already done an edit for that. Threat says unfabricate yourself now. But yes, it does seem like, let's see, 240 deployment points? Yeah, whoever said the Giga Cannon Anubis couldn't do it, or would be bad, was wrong. Because clearly, Giga Cannon Anubis is the Giga Chad we need. It did well against the demons. It's doing even better against the threat with 3 fabricators. Actually, it did good against the demons. It did great against the fabricators. But it's truly, its best matchup is against my frame rate. Because those flash bombers are demolishing it. Zero fleet orders too, not like you need to nurse them. Yeah, exactly. Anubis might just be really good. I think with elite point defense as one of the officer skills, you can go double paladin, double heavy machine gun, and a single Giga Cannon to crack the armor. Then the machine guns for point defense, the machine guns for anti-shield, you get 1 Giga Cannon for anti-armor, and then the paladins can do the hull damage. Because they actually have pretty good damage. And of course, they're also good at point defense at that point. So they do seem pretty legit. Came for the video, stayed for the slideshow. Exactly, Stochastic Turtle. You see, the reason the frame rate is low is not because of budgetary restrictions. It's an aesthetic choice to replicate stop motion. You know, it's got a charm to it. Love me Anubis, but I'm afraid it'll get nervous or something. Yeah, it might. It is pretty good. Temporal Shell with 3 large energy slots is just kind of insane. It's no wonder it's got design compromises to nerf it, but it still might need to go down to go up to 20 deployment points instead of 18. But if it's 18, that might be an issue. Not sure how else you would nerf it, though. You can't just make design compromises hit it even harder, because that would be kind of insane. I think the ship feels like it does what it's intended to do. It's just that what it does, it turns out to be really good, and I think people underestimated how a point defense boat with paladins might actually be solid. Because the paladins are pretty solid offensive, and then also it's decent offensively as well. Is the frame rate even slower than the temporal shell slowdown effect? Well, considering I'm in the Paragon, that is definitely not the temporal shell effect. I doubt it because of the HMGs, but they're actually doing good. Well, a part of the reason they're doing good is because I didn't take safety overrides, and although a safety override build with HMGs would probably still do good, but since I didn't go safety overrides, I went with elite point defense to give them some decent range. Normally their range would be an issue here, but with a flat 200 is pretty solid. Although now that the fabricators... No, there's still 1 fabricator, so this guy's just getting aggressive for no reason. He's just built different. And apparently the Void Blasters are pretty scary. Speaking of, I should probably try to abuse those. The near instant striking speed. It's like, they're such a weird weapon, though, because they're soft flux like a beam, but they're not. Why is your frame rate so bad? I have no idea. It's really beyond me, honestly. When are you making a Gremlin fleet? Well, I'll give you guys a chance to vote on that one. Incursion mode makes the assault unit hyper-aggressive. Wait, is incursion mode, it's like its ability? Hold on. Yes. Top speed, flux dissipation, charge regeneration rate. Wait, that's actually kind of awesome. This is the first ship I've seen that increases, where it has a system that affects charge regeneration rate for its weapons. But it makes sense, this thing always uses the Void Blaster. As well as overall aggressiveness. Yeah, it's right there. But of course, it only activates if it's hit by an Overseer's ability. So hey, there's like strategy to fighting their fleets. It's not just snipe the Fabricator, you should be sniping the Overseers, actually. Partly because they counterphase ships, but also because a lot of the other ones need the Overseer to activate their abilities. And if you take it off the field, they can't do that. Yeah. They can also Energy Lash attack swarms. Well, that's interesting. Fragment volley on Hive is better. Well, it's certainly flashier. The fragment, when they activate the fragment volley, and there's just the screen is flooded with projectiles. It's definitely something. Oh, yeah, I see it. Okay, that's exactly what you're talking about. So when they use the energy lash on the fragment swarms, that's why these ones are glowing purple, or kind of bluish purple, perhaps a violet hue. That explains that. To be fair, you get a long time between updates to enjoy the ship being OP. Well, we're not that far off the patch, so it wouldn't. So if something was an issue, you might get a hotfix. But since the Anubis did dodge the first couple of hotfixes, and in fact, the Paladin got nerfed, and then in the next hotfix, it got slightly unnerfed. So there is that. I mean, the main thing that's got to be balanced around is the Anubis, right? So the fact that it got slightly unnerfed means that it's probably going to be fine in this state. Or Alex probably considers it fine in this current state. At least until the next patch. So yeah, that's somewhat true. I love the hierarchy of ships that threat has, and how they depend on each other like cells in an organism. Well, that's just getting too smart with the metaphor of like genetic evolution and applying it to these ships. They depend on it. They're like the fleet is like the body of the organism, and each individual ship is like the cells. So again, now the Anubis are running out of peak performance, and they're running out of... They're having malfunctions now, so they're dying. So they are performing really well, but I probably should just tell this guy to stop being a dumbass and go kill the Fabricator. Because we killed 2 of them, but now they're not killing this one for like a million years for some reason. I think this one single-handedly has outlasted pretty much everything. This one, by itself, has stalled us out for longer than the other 2 did. Although that's probably because I have Fleet Doctrine set to steady, I think. I should change that to aggressive so that the player character actually kills stuff. Sometimes I wonder if Alex can top what modders do, then I look at the design of Threat and Demons and it just hits different. Yeah. Because modders are good, but you see the difference is, this is Alex's job, where modders are doing it for the love of the game. And passion can go a long way, but if you're not getting paid, then you're not going to do as well as the guy who's passionate and getting paid. It's like doing a little bit of both. It's like there's on one side you got passion, on the other side you get paid to do it, but when their powers combine, you get something truly special. You're playing on 0.9 release candidate 5 and the Anubis is... You understand why he did it. Yeah, the Anubis does feel pretty good. And with the what did he get it down to? Was it 0.25 for flux efficiency? It was pretty crazy. Yeah, so you can see one overseer with the Anubis now having malfunctions. The assault unit's doing pretty well. All right, the Paragon is really just like get in range and kill it, please. Although, oh, it's the damn Overseer giving it the ability to backpedal. Yeah, critical malfunctions, whatever. We all know who's winning this. And it's not the threat. Just go full assault, it's fine. Some of you may die, but that's a sacrifice I'm willing to make. Because I'm just going to reverse the timeline anyways. Really enjoyed your Mechabellum video. Will you join the upcoming tournament? There's an upcoming tournament? For what, like... What's the kind of MMR of people participating in it? Because I'm kind of like a... okay player. Because if there's like all the top players participating in the next tournament, then I would just be cooked. All timid. Oh god. All timid, really. That would just never... Nothing would happen. Shield Shunt Paragon. Well, we just had a Paragon, so... Can't do that again. And, it's rewind time. But yeah, the thing is, Arcadia, I would like to do more Mechabellum, but yeah, already having some issues with Starsector now that the weather's warming up. So, well, hopefully what I can do is, hopefully that voltage regulator will fix it, because if not, then I'll have to get like a new power supply unit, and it's called, or not the power supply unit, the no, yeah, if the voltage regulator doesn't work, then I'll have to get a new power supply unit, or maybe just outright a new computer. Before I can do real Mechabellum content. But yeah. Tourney's on May 3rd, and they split it into groups. There's a rookie groups, I think. Well, how did they qualify for the rookie groups? Because I've got like 100 games? Is it like based off the number of games you played, or is it MMR? If you want to increase the frame rate, just use a lot of suicide ships. Genius. That's what we call, you see, J. Mary. Mr. J. Mary. That is what we call the Stellaris strategy. If everyone's dead, the frame rate will finally be fixed. Frontline built Astral. Okay, so one of them is going to be... Hear me out, chat. The Om Nom Onslaught, 4 Hungering Rifts, S-modded Shrouded Mantle, and ECCM, and then everything else you want. Be hungry. Alright. I guess that's one. What was the other one? No, it wasn't the Paragon, it was... Okay, now, it left my brain. That information has exited my brain. Somebody came up with a fleet suggestion, and I said I was going to add that to the list. At least I said that on the inside. I don't know if I said that on the outside. And now I can't find it. Okay, whoa, hold on. Just buy a new PSU nerd. Alright, thank you, Annabelle. I will use the... one for the chat counter, please. That's right, one for the chat counter. Yes, I will use the donation to go buy a power supply, but then I'm going to have to go take it into the shop to get someone to replace it. Or maybe I'll just watch a YouTube tutorial on how to replace your power supply, because that could not possibly go wrong in any way. Actually, what do you recommend, since you do this for a living? Do you think that an amateur could replace their own power supply? Change it yourself, oh my god. Dude, on stream, it's not very... How? Okay, so am I supposed to take out my phone and stream myself doing it? I don't know if that would be the most interesting thing in the world. Yes. 5E. Alright, I'll think about it. And also, alright, yes, so we got chat. I've updated that. Chat did win, alright? Giga Cannon Anubis did win. Okay. So now we're going to take chat suggestions, because I can't remember what the other ones were that I thought were cool. An idiot could replace a power supply unit. Okay, great. Because I'm certainly going to act like an idiot while I'm doing it. The difficulty comes from trying to hide the wires, and if you don't care, then it's very easy. Okay, excellent. Yeah, because I can definitely open up the side of my computer very easily, and I can see the power supply unit from here. No problem. As long as I don't care about hiding the wires, then yeah. Gotcha. You gotta print out a mask of your BBE 2-power guitar, so no face reveal. Yeah, that's right. I gotta save the epic face reveal for 1 million subscribers. So that everyone can then call me ugly on Twitter. Nah, I'm just kidding. The reason I don't show my face is because I'm actually too handsome. I don't want people saying that I'm using my looks to get an edge in the streaming space. The ugly on Twitter, by the way, was a reference to the dream face reveal, which, on the one hand, I do kind of feel like people are way too harsh to a guy who's, like, average looking at worst. Like calling him ugly because he looks kind of average is, well, it's cringe. It's like, yes, I know Dream is annoying, but, like, so what? Like, move on. You know, just laugh at him being cringe and then move on instead of calling him ugly. I think that's just as annoying. But on the other hand, he did get a bunch of YouTubers to hype up his face reveal like it was going to be a life-changing experience. Like, I do specifically remember some people being like, I saw his face and it changed my life. Which, I mean, that's sort of like they were playing it straight as far as I could tell. They weren't doing it because they weren't saying that because it was funny, but it was ironically funny, so I forgive them. But like, man, imagine hyping people up like, oh my god, I saw Big Brain Energy's face and it changed my life. To be fair, there are very strong parasocial relationships happening there. Yeah, that's exactly why it happens. That explains why it happens, but that doesn't mean that's how people should behave. Ground yourself in case, avoid touching other parts, pull wires, don't force anything. Yeah, I'm going to definitely look up a few safety videos. If your face matches your voice even 50%, you'd probably have the ability to edit people's orientation. I mean, there are some people on the internet who've seen my face over Discord, and I've gotten some interesting reactions. One the first thing they say is, wait, I thought you were going to be Asian. I don't know what to even say to that. It's like, yeah, I'm not Asian, sorry. I saw Sadako's face and it changed my life. Exactly. I thought you were going to be British. So yeah, unfortunately, no, I'm not British. As you can tell by my perfectly straight teeth, I am in fact not British. The suspiciously blue-looking face. I am not an alpha core. Please believe me. In my brain, you just look like Beelzebub. Well, yeah. Beelzebub wearing MLG glasses, of course. Do not reuse cables. Bad, bad, bad. Okay. We've got to say, we've got to... What do you mean you're not Asian? Bro, you're Indian. True. You got me. I just see house. We ain't beating the head. We got it. All right. I'm going to start the poll instead of this. Even though I am enjoying this. All right. Cast your votes. Or not your votes. Come up with suggestions now. Right. So, wait. Hold on. Let me scroll back. At least I will throw in one cooler guy suggestion of... Was it the old slot or the onslaught? What did he say? The Om Nom Nom slot. I can't tell which one that is. The Mark 1 or the current version. Anyways. Onslaught Vampire. Onslaught 14. Okay. Onslaught 14. Vampire build. Yeah, we can throw in the Prometheus Mark 2. Again. Let's add in a third option. Oops, all derelict. Oops, all sunders. 2 lightning astrals. 20 condors with support doctrine. You know what? Let's give the condors a chance. Condor spark spam. Let's go with that. We've got the vampire build with hungering rifts for the Onslaught 14, which I guess the rest of the fleet will just be like 14 videos, or 14 ships. We've got the Prometheus Mark II for a Ludic Path fleet. Right, if you're a fan of Pathers, you got that one. And then, of course, we've got Support Doctrine, Condor, Spark Spam. And wonderful, welcome to Certified Gamer. You're now a gamer and a Talon pilot. And there's no going back. And it's... I really should get the music mod for combat again, because that is really nice. Although I'm probably going to... There's some tracks that I'll probably cut from the FTL track, like the rock combat music sounds... often doesn't fit the tone. There are some combat tracks that are really good, but there are some that don't fit the tone of Starsector. And I did hear a few tracks from other games that I think I could throw in. Mix it up a little bit so it's not just FTL, even though it is good. You will be bribed, chat. That's right, this is not a fair vote. This is not exactly a fair vote, because chat wants those sweet, sweet One Cooler Guy lottery memberships. But I'm going to hold the vote regardless. Even though it is rigged, and we all know it's rigged, we've got to go through it for the formalities. When are we getting the Moneyfish series back? Soon. Depends on how... Basically, it depends on how I'm feeling tomorrow, because I have enough time to record the next episode and publish it on Saturday. It's just a question of, do I feel like doing that, or do I feel like doing something else? That's about it. Terraria OST. Terraria does have some banger music. Stellaris OST. I'd have to look through the Stellaris track, but I don't really want to do that, so probably not. Been trying to use the Shrouded stuff effectively and didn't have much success. Curious to see. Yeah, the Shrouded stuff is very ordnance pointing. Well, the hull mods are weird, but the weapons are just really expensive. Please post non-stream content. My well was dry when it comes to good content. Yeah, I've got to post some... Well, it's kind of the thing. For, like, the easily made content of just me talking to the camera makes more sense to do as a stream. And I kind of want to... I'll finish up the Moneyfish series, but I want to move Master of Orion playthroughs to, like, streaming. So that then the videos will be stuff with at least a bare minimum of editing instead of none at all. Wait, so CJ, you're never played Calamity, but you love the music anyways. That's interesting. Did you just, like, watch people play Calamity on YouTube? That's what I've got to guess. That's what I would guess. Alright. I think, yeah, we've got our winner. It's definitely... wow, in a surprise turn of events, the Onslaught ends up being the winner by a landslide. Crazy. Who could have seen this coming? It's only the... it's only the Onslaught for... I am shocked. And look at that. And see, like, in a completely unrelated event, 50 memberships have been handed out by one cooler guy. Just something that is totally unrelated from the previous victory of his choice for what the fleet should be. No correlation here. Into the cockpit with ye. Yeah, so now 50 of you are going to Talon School. Congratulations. Or as they say in Command & Conquer Generals, congratulations, Commander. You have been promoted. Just gotta dismiss all these losers. High tech, get that garbage out of here. High tech piece of junk is what I say. You're going in the scrap bin. Okay, now we get our onslaughts, baby. Gotta be at least 3 of them, right? For sure. Wait, crew under strength. Wait, so that entire high-tech fleet used less crew than 3 onslaughts. Now that is some environmental storytelling right there. It really says a lot about high-tech versus low-tech society. CNC Generals mentioned. Yeah, honestly, there's kind of a... I guess I'd call it a Christmas tradition for me and my brother to play Command & Conquer Generals together. Because that game was like that game was a big part of our childhood. At least say America lobbying moment. No, because this, at least American lobbying has some subtlety to it. This is just blatant. Welcome to flying skyscrapers and double coffee shop-sized lasers. Low tech promotes community. Yes. Nothing stops the mail. Yeah. I think one of the best things about Generals is the music. Like, every faction has a distinct soundtrack, and they're all completely awesome. Do I have permission to edit your streams down and send them to you, whenever I have the energy at least? I've been vaguely interested in learning how to do that anyways. Absolutely. You don't even have to send them to me. If you want, you can... actually, how do I want to do that? I mean, if people... It depends on how much you... Because if people want to do, like, clips, it's like... I mean, you don't need permission to do that. Like, if people want to just, like, edit it down to clips of their own volition, it's like, oh, it's like, what am I going to sit here and say? I magnanimously give you permission, right? It's like, free advertising. I'd be a fool, or I'd be a Nintendo, or a foolish Nintendo type of guy if I said no to that. Yeah, I feel weird about uploading people's clips. I just want the experience. Sure, yeah. If that's how you feel about it, then you can send them to me, and I can upload them. I mean, if that's what you feel about it, then sure. I will take them. I was thinking about saying I'm joking and saying I would take the credit too, but I don't know if I'd. I don't know if I want to joke about that. I'm thinking about it. No, unfortunately, I can't think of anything funny to do with that, so I guess not. Just built Flack. BB marketable plushie. Yeah, the thing... You know, I can imagine a future like where I'm at like 300,000 subscribers and I release a marketable plushie. But the difference is, of course, everyone's like, no, don't turn me into a marketable plushie. I would say, but the thing is, we all know that their resistance to the idea is a facade. We all know that that's bullshit. You do want to be turned into a marketable plushie because you're trying to sell me something. We all know that you're just putting on a show of pretending you don't want it for the sake of entertainment. So I would do the opposite of that and say, you know what would actually be really cool is if one of the VTubers who actually has budgets to like do stuff is if they related like some kind of like animatic, not like a full animation, but just like a storyboarded kind of thing of them going on like a magical quest to get some kind of MacGuffin that turns them into a marketable plushie, and that's like the entire plot. That would get me to buy stuff. Is if like there's like a whole storyline of like trying to do that on purpose rather than just a gag about, no, don't turn me into that, right? Taking that trope and turning it on its head and then putting a lot of effort into it. That would be really smart. That would be some genius level marketing. You know what? One of these VTuber companies have just got to hire me to be like a marketing manager because I've got the best ideas. Well, I guess they could also hire me as a talent too. BBE is Beelzebub with glasses. Somehow I don't think that's going to fly in copyright. No, we just got to change it slightly so it's a legally distinct character. An original character, do not steal. You can only have 10 Rift missiles. Yeah, that's... Well, here's the thing. The Rift missiles are limited, but the healing effect isn't, because you can put the Shrouded Mantle on multiple ships. Brain jar collectible. Well, that... Oh, I could have like a cast of like marketable characters. I don't need just one. One of them could be like a brain in a jar with like angry eyes on it. And that's it. That's the character. And we'll add it to the Big Brain Energy cinematic universe. I speak Polish. Maybe I can convince the Polish skeleton. You know, that would be interesting, is if... Imagine not just, like, borrowing the character, but actually getting actually starting up, like, an entire VTuber agency where all of the people just play the characters from Helltaker. Genius. I know. Absolutely fucking genius. And if, yeah, that's just a genius idea, honestly. Somebody should do that. Omega plushie win. Yeah, so I'm thinking so he did say Hungering Rift. Hungering Rift 4. No, it's no space. Oh, of course, I messed up on add weapon. Unfortunate. Okay, Hungering. I'm pretty sure it's something else entirely. Alright, list weapons. Where are we? Does anyone know what the console command name is? Is it Skitsu VTuber or Many Personalities 1? Yes. Like having a VA for a game or an anime VTubing is... Yeah, so I think... Oh god, his name escapes me right now. Ah, yeah, I know... God, I know what his name is, but I am having a massive case of dementia right now, and I can't remember his name. Van Ripper, right? That's him. Van Ripper. He could easily, like, create VTuber... Or, I don't know, maybe easily is the wrong word, but he could create VTuber avatars and then, like, collaborate with people to create an agency where they just, like, play as his characters, and it would make $1 billion. And you can't tell me I'm wrong, because that would make $1 billion. It's just a matter of whether or not that's one thing he wants to do. God, the Hungering Rift. So here's what the problem I've had with some of the new weapons is just finding them in this list can be a pain. Because they don't always, like, the data for, like, the tag in the files for their name is often very different from their actual name. So, like, look at this. Autopulse laser. So it has the information for their names, but it just doesn't add the weapon, even if you type it in correctly. Because you've got to type in the thing on the left. It right there. Assaying Rift. Is that it? Assaying Rift? Yes, it is. There it is. Hungering Rift. See, this is the one that's so hard to find most of the time. Hungering Rift is actually Assaying Rift. Add weapon Assaying Rift 4. Okay. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go with that. Requires items. So it's the mantle. Add item shrouded mantle. We're just going to add 30. Because that's a reasonable amount. And we S-mod that bad boy. What do you mean I only have one? Add item. Oh, you can only add one at a time? Why? Huh? This is not a limitation for any other item. But these items, apparently, you can only add one at a time. That's so oddly specific. The Emperor's Finest Cultist. Yippee. Yes. Yippee. Why that name? Yeah, I don't know why they're called Assaying Rift. Heavy armor is probably not needed because it's hull meta with healing. That's a good point. We probably don't need the armor. Although the residual armor does help make the hull more effective. Van Ripper made Helltaker because he wanted art of girls in suits. He totally approved of VTubers. Yeah, he seems like he would. Again, if he can get the right people together and make like a VTuber agency, I imagine that would make $1 billion. But organizing these kinds of things can be surprisingly complicated and difficult. Up arrow to copy command. Oh, is that how it works? It is. That is how it works. You're right. Thank you, chat. I can only say you're wrong because there's $2.5 trillion in circulation, so you can't make $1 quadrillion, since $1 million billion is a quadrillion. Well, you got me there. Waiter, more demonic low-tech, please. You got it. We're probably gonna need a lot of flak, yeah? The difficulty of running a VTuber agency is like a goddamn nightmare. Yeah, with the way that some of them are going, certainly can't deny that. So, I know the Storm Needler is popular, but consider that Threat does not really have the best shields. Does the command all weapons not work? That's not a command. Oh my god. That's a real command. Use storage to retrieve. Well, out here in deep space, we ain't got that. Type storage to access them. Huh? How does this work? Storage will be shown when you close the console overlay. Ah. I have never known about this. That's very cool. I like that Van Ramper cut the bullshit on second game and made the girls gay. Well, it's interesting that they don't really... He makes in Helltaker, the Helltaker doesn't really kiss the girls. At least not in the video game. But the second game, when he gets a girl protagonist, now they're kissing all of a sudden. I mean, this really says a lot about society. And by that I mean, I think No, I don't think I need to go into psychoanalyze the audience. That's too much, even for me. Finally, a game for me. That's what every gamer said in unison when they saw that. The Helltaker was just in it for the love of the game. Honestly, you say that, but I think that's the canon. He's like... He's not here to get laid. He's here to win. Win at what? Collecting girls, of course. He's collecting them like Pokemon. So hold on. Yeah, if I can access storage and I can do this, this makes it so much easier. Okay, so now I have no excuse to take forever and banter and yap. I can just do this. But how do I want to do it? Maybe I want to do it like this. I'll get like elite point defense again. So we've got all this crap to take care of because then, like, that benefits for all of its weapons. We've got the machine guns for anti-shield, the rifts to do serious damage, devastators, just make it like reckless or something. Yeah, I think we'll go reckless with these guys. Collecting girls like Pokemon is a whole different kink. Helltaker, Girl Taker sounds familiar. Indeed. It's all point defense, as Lud intended. Yeah, okay. I think this is a good start. Do I want to go with the... Yeah, I think I do want the elite point defense. Do I still want this? What about this? I think the answer is yes. I think I'm just not going to think about it too much, and I'm just going to do this. Okay. So we got to max out that. You'll want ECCM that the rifts can actually follow smart targets. True. I think bulkheads, targeting unit, distributor, ECCM. One of those, one of those. I think that's it. I think that's all we got. These rifts are expensive. They're 18 ordnance points each. This one, on the other hand, see, we've already got 4 on the main one. Which I guess I'll put my player character there. No, we do want that, right? Maybe like this? So yeah, the main one with the player character is going to be like this. The other ones... What kind of missile do we want? What are we feeling? You know what? Voices in my head, you're right. Dragonfire is the only option. That's a good call from the voices in my head. And of course, this one can afford more hull mods. So I think what we're going to go with... I'm not sure it actually really needs much more. Guess we can throw in auxiliary thrusters, call it a day. Dragonfire. Yes. Expanded missile racks? Nah. Well, that actually makes sense. But I don't think... No, wait, hold on. Yeah, if I drop... Okay, if I drop that rear-facing machine guns... I mean, who needs Vulcans on the rear? Salamanders? Never heard of her. Salamander? I've never even met her. I think that's the way we're going to do it. We've got the Hungering Rifts. We got the Dragonfires. Yes, and they've all got Shrouded Mantle, which means that as soon as they take a bunch of hull damage, they're going to leap backwards like a cartoon character who's about to fall off a cliff. Yes, really, that's basically how it works. But also, every Hungering Rift, they don't just heal the ship that fires them, they can heal any ship that's got this thing S-modded. So I'm thinking, okay, fine, I'll take the damn Space Dog game. Alright? Fine. But now what I've got to do is I've got to build the rest of the fleet. And I'm thinking, what if I spam Vanguards? Or at least a decent number of Vanguards. I don't know if I want to spam all Vanguards. Or maybe Eagles. 3 Legion 14s. Doesn't Hungering Rift... Yeah, so Hungering Rift has a global projectile cap. That's right. Vanguards, Eagles... Probably both, I guess. I could do 4 Eagles to get us to 200. 5 Eagles would be 220, and then I could do 3 Vanguards. 5 Eagles, 3 Vanguards. Yeah, the math adds up on that one. Add ship. And it is really annoying that every time I hit F, it automatically shifts over to take. No, I do not want to take. I want to leave. No, Vanguard aren't 5, they're 60p. So technically I've got room for 2 points more, but if this doesn't work, I doubt an extra kite would make the difference. If you fire Hungering Rifts, it would heal the demons? I don't think so, because that would be a really weird way of programming them. Like, you can fight the demons to get these cool weapons, but then also if you use them too much, they actually heal the demons. Probably not the best design. At least from a player standpoint, that'd be really annoying. Emotional support kite, of course. Oh no, of course, you're right. I don't need a kite for emotional support, I need it for spite. Exactly. How do I want to build these guys? The same? No, probably not. Oh yeah, considering that we're not in heavy armor at all, probably don't want this, and instead helmsmanship will do better. Or actually, I should do what I said and get point defense. Yeah. Alright, avoided a blunder. That could have been a blunder, but I avoided it. Okay, so we've got 1. We have dose. We have triple. We have the 4th one. So yeah, now unfortunately I've got to find officers for all of these, but I think that's a good start. Okay. So yeah, I'll just copy my build for these guys. Hey, not bad. The problem is that every time I close this, I'm going to have to open the storage interface again, which is mildly annoying. So I think I'll do the weapons first. What kind of eagle should I do? Because it's kind of important now. Combat dram. Two converted hangars with mining drones. That does technically fit, yeah. Kinetic fragments eagle. Heavy. Beam eagle. No, we're not doing beagles. Double grab IR auto lance is my go-to eagle. Yeah, those are good beams on it. We're not doing a pure beagle though. Void blaster. Yeah, we could do void blaster. That's what I was thinking. Yeah. Wait, I don't need to do that. I keep forgetting. Society has moved on from the need to... I mean, it's kind of tempting to use the new disintegrator, even though it is an Omega weapon. It's like, yeah, it's an Omega weapon, but it did just get buffed, so I'm kind of tempted to use it. But I guess I should stick to the Void Blaster, since you can actually farm these. And it's also new. You know what? Actually, we could do that. Void Blaster double auto lance. Look how low the flux generation is. That is insane. That's crazy. Costs nothing to fire this damn thing. I'm thinking stabilized shields are already good on the Eagle. Let's go with that. Although with all of that extra flux, it's probably better off with heavy autocannons. Or maybe even going like heavy blasters plus a hybrid weapon in the middle. And then build it aggressive. It's probably not the worst idea. Although there's not really much of a point to a mining blaster when we're using a void blaster already. Right? So just throw in a thumper because there's the shields on the enemy aren't that good? I guess so. Because like you don't need that much kinetic DP. Well, to be fair to the heavy blast, the heavy mass driver, it's got decent hit strength, so it's probably fine. PDAI triple machine gun with the triple EMP. Well, I'm not going to do missile autoloader. I don't think that's... I don't think the missiles are going to be contributing too much here. I think that the fragments are going to shoot them down. Do I even want swarmers? I just throw in a couple Reapers and call it a day. I think that's it. I think that's the secret sauce. Get all this garbage out of here. This is clearly what a real build looks like. Reaper but no autoloader. Correct. Alright, let's do this. Magazine, stabilized shields, targeting unit. That is what we're going with here. Okay, there we go. Now I can just copy paste this. Excellent. Now I'm going to focus on getting the officer skills, and then we'll do the vanguards last. I want that one. I want that one. I want that one. Oh. Right. I forgot that I took off the... Okay. I forgot I took helmsmanship off. So you guys are... Yeah, you're no good. I'll just poach this officer. And this one. Ah, yes, garbage collection. Excellent. Which missiles do follow the target? For the small swarms with small hitbox. Probably swarmers, but I don't know if I want to do that. Yes, that's right. Sometimes it's better to just say correct. Yes, I am doing that. And you can't stop me. Sometimes it's better to just say that when someone points out a disagreement with your build. Yeah, so we want this and that. And one of these. We throw in one of those. Wow, this guy's just perfect. He understood the assignment. Oh god, I want all of these. Definitely got to get these two. This is good. This is good. They're all so damn good. I guess it has no maneuverability bonuses right now, so we'll have to go with that. Right, your turn. Well, you're a lot more disappointing. Oh, you even managed to not get the last skill. Incredible. Isn't polarized armor good here? Well, we don't even have heavy armor. Right, we're mostly focusing on hull here. Because we're relying on the hull to... You know. Relying on the Hungering Rifts to repair the hull. So we're seeing if this is valuable to just neglect. Come on. What would you say is the best weapon type to take on the threat at the... and the other guys? Well, against the demons, kinetic weapons seem to be better, and against the threat, high explosive weapons seem to be better. But against both of them, fragmentation weapons seem pretty good. Bruh. Come on. Homeworld is Space Exodus. Yes. I think that's pretty explicit, actually, in the design. Is that they deliberately... Because originally it was going to be based off of, like, Battlestar... Homeworld was originally going to be a Battlestar Galactica licensed game, but then that fell through, and they still had the game. So they just kind of made up their own thing based off of Exodus. From the Bible. Maybe you could consider Reckless? Yeah, that's probably good. I was thinking about it. Speaking of, Doctrine. Reckless. Bible fanfiction is my favorite genre. Bible fanfiction has produced some of the worst media ever, but it also produced The Prince of Egypt. Which is... Well, it's the Prince of Egypt. If you know, you know. Let's see. For the Distinguished Eagles... Yeah, I guess we could do the gunnery implants. Honestly, does it even need all that dissipation? I guess if we go Elite Field Modulation, then it'll be good. Damn. This is going to be annoying. Getting the right skills for you guys is going to be a pain. Because I don't even need ordnance expertise. So, like, what am I grabbing? I guess I'm grabbing point defense. Even that still makes it a pain. Oh, look, you almost got it. Good for you. Helsing is my favorite Bible fanfic. Does Helsing count? So we're trying to regen officers, but we're spamming all Rectus Ligma officers on them. Yes. Well, the hull mod that gives them the regen in the first place also causes them to jump away from the enemy when they take too much hull damage. Which, now that I think about it, that's not going to be super useful if they just burn drive back into combat. So maybe aggressive is better. Because, like, Reckless is going to get them to the point where they trigger the effect faster, but it's also going to mean that they just jump right into combat immediately, so probably not going to work. Yeah, I'm going to have to start mentoring these guys. Alright. You want that? Do I want target analysis? Probably not. Probably just do this. Mark 1 when, Mr. Streamer? Well, not right now. You should try the 10 Grundles with hypervelocity drivers and phase anger. Yeah, maybe eventually. Okay. Yeah, I've got to mentor you. Hey, look at that. He did it. No console commands for officer skills? Nope. You just got a mentor. Hope for the best. Yeah, the onslaughts are going to be doing like a cartoon skit where they run into the enemy and then they bounce out. All thanks to the Magic Hull mod. Who knew that demons could produce such whimsical technology? Alright, we're almost done with these guys. There we go. So now I just need to come up with some Vanguard builds and we're all good. Give the Onslaught systems expertise so they can yo-yo faster. Classic. Yeah, I think probably going to want point defense and damage control on these guys. Alright, come on now. Well, that also works. It's got to be point defense. Or do I want point defense? Wait, so I'm going to want this. And damage control. Ballistic. Point defense. Don't I want ordnance expertise? No, I guess I'll just do safety overrides with machine guns. That's probably fine. Maybe like this. Give them mantles. Yeah, I'm going to give the Vanguards mantles. For sure. Target analysis. We want one of those. Alright. On that. And that. There we go. I'm going to give the Vanguard safety overrides and the mantle. We're going to S-mod that. Because that could potentially be really actually good. Could be a nice synergy. We'll see. We'll give it a chance to shine. Give them Swarm Fragment. You can't make Vanguards cautious. It's simply outrageous. Wait, I don't think they need safety overrides at all. I think this is already fine. In fact, they're not using up enough flux. There we go, that's better. Yeah, I think we need to throw in one at least. Unless I don't even use these for missiles. I guess I could get more machine guns in theory. But it's got to be missiles, right? Well, anyways, the most important thing is the mantle. So I'll put that on everything. Well, what would you say is the best skill for Mark 1? Well, I guess definitely anything that improves its hull, like combat endurance or damage control, or preferably both. Also, ordnance expertise is definitely in the running. Those would probably be your top 3 for the Mark 1. Don't use missiles, threat AA, don't miss. But it's swarmers. Swarmers will work. They're swarmers. What does the mantle even do? Well, it causes it to jump away from danger when it takes a bunch of hull damage. It's kind of vague, but I mean, once you see it in action, you'll see it, and it will make sense. Also, the S-mod bonus causes it to heal from the Hungering Rift, which does not necessarily need to be on the ship itself. So this onslaught, using its rifts, can heal these vanguards. It's very strange, but it just be like that. Yeah, I think we're going to want repair units. Okay, so what if I do safety overrides? What if I do, and I commit to that? Or I could use the extra points for lots of hull mods. I mean, lots of hull mods is pretty fun. I mean, I don't really need these, do I? I could just throw on so much more. Oh wait, maybe that's a bit too much. The flux suddenly spikes up quite a lot as soon as you start adding more than one light assault gun. It's a real light assault gun moment. It's like, oh yeah, these things do suck. That's right, I almost forgot. Do they want heavy armor though? It's so expensive. It's 8 ordnance points. Doesn't add that much armor. And there's not really a lot else to do, I guess. It's kind of the best I can say about it. There's not much competition. Guess we'll go armored weapon mounts for the last one. Forget about it. Yeah, I guess I'll go heavy armor and get a few more vents. Alright. That's good enough. Okay. Alright, that seems fair and reasonable. Yeah. And now we can finally get to the good part. The slideshow. BRB grabbing more beer. Alright, everybody, hold on. Unborn Potato's getting his beer. Right. No, I'm just kidding. He can rewind and then put it on 1.25 times speed. Like a real YouTube viewer. Oh, man. So the church, when they see these, they decide that you are literally demonic. Any questions? Yeah, I think I made a good call giving them S-modded repair units. As we can see here, machine guns plus light assault gun plus swarmers is pretty good against other frigates. And apparently with just like helmsmanship and unstable injector, they're outmaneuvering the enemy pretty nicely. And of course, guys, my frame rate is working now that there's no flash bombers. Incredible. The Eagles might be the weak link. We'll see. They might struggle to... It looks like they're already kind of struggling to finish this thing off. And I did not S-mod extended shields, which might be an issue. When I asked about the skills, I meant to say hull mods for the Mark 1. S-modded magazines. Bulkheads. Flux distributor. Turret gyros. I'd say those four are definitely some of the top choices. What specs does your PC have? That's something I do not remember. The main reason it struggles to run Mechabellum is because I have to turn down the PC power limit so that it doesn't crash because of the power supply issues. If I can turn it back up to 100%, it'll do a lot better. Although it is getting a little old, so maybe not. Maybe I'd still have to play on like medium graphics, but it would run smoothly at the very least. Does your performance go up a lot if you're not streaming? Not a ton. It goes up a little bit though. It's not like a massive amount. Well, the flash bombers might not be killing my frame rate, but something sure is. It seems like all of these ships with the point defense skill are doing a pretty good job at killing these threat swarms. I wonder if there's a correlation there. Devastator particles? Yeah. There's definitely a lot of weapons here with particles, but I think it's almost unavoidable for a late game fleet. Can you give a quick recap on threat and demons and what they bring and how to kill them? Well, the demons are made of Kool-Aid, and they have no armor. Which is lore accurate, because Kool-Aid in real life does not have armor. And it's red. They don't have frigates, though. That's about it for the demons. The main scary thing is the eye, because its laser has insane range and does good damage. As long as you don't worry, as long as you can deal with the eye, though, you're fine. For the most part, they are pretty strong against frigates. Whereas threat, you need to bring a lot of point defense, and their shields exist, but they're not great. So you want to focus more on anti-armor and anti-hull, because that stuff is pretty painful. Yeah, a lot of these Dragonfires are not being very effective, but it's fine. They're not really here to kill the enemy, they're here for the cool factor. Right, they look pretty. Man, you can really look at the soft flux on all of these guys. Right, these guys are managing their flux just fine. This guy, with the Hungering Rifts, he's struggling. And honestly, I built these things for hull tanking, and they're not even taking any hull damage. This is a scam. I've got to make them more aggressive so that they can take damage. You see, there it was. Do you see how it's like suddenly sliding backwards? That was the Shrouded Mantle triggering. Oh, do you see how it suddenly regained health? That was because a Hungering Rift hit something and the Shrouded Mantle healed it. So I think this could actually be a good strategy. Right, if you've been struggling to get the Vanguards to stay alive, S-mod a Shrouded Mantle on them, and then put Hungering Rifts on somebody else, and it will recover their hull. I might have to take advantage of that at some point. But yeah, I think for low-tech fleets, that's going to be pretty... It's like, this is a way to make the Vanguard a lot better, I think. See, look at that. It triggers the Vanguard. The Vanguard was using its burn drive, and it still jumped backwards. Well, and then it died immediately. Good job. Yeah, I think the Void Blaster Eagle is a good call. I think the Eagle is doing pretty good. The triple heavy mass driver, the auto lances, and the Void Blaster. And then of course the point defense skill with burst lasers so that it can kill all the fragments. Fabricators are still incredibly intimidating. Imagine fighting them on Iron Man. Well, it seems that way right now because we haven't figured out the best strategies for fighting them. But once we figured that, once we played with them for a while and we figured that out, people will be able to do them very consistently. I wonder what the Hungering Rift healing looks like from the crew's perspective. Yeah, it's kind of hard to imagine how this is justified in universe. Like, the Hungering Rift healing the demons makes sense because they're demons. I ain't gotta explain shit. But the fact that you can apply it to your own ships and it still just works... I guess, like, a room will explode and then it just repairs itself because magic. Look at him go. Point defense machines. Truly what the world needs most. I'll give him a few kill commands to hopefully speed this up. Maybe it's temporal stuff, like temporal shell in reverse. God, that would be freaky. You are making your ships into literal half-demons. Yeah, I guess so. I guess the real question is not how the healing works. The real question is, when you S-mod a Shrouded Mantle, what the hell does that look like? What does it mean to S-mod a Shrouded Mantle? Did I update the Java that Starsector uses? Well, that's part of the current update. It's just the latest version of Starsector just uses new Java. Or newer Java, not the newest. But you know. Yeah, time reversal is what I imagine, and that's why crew casualties go up. I also think... Yeah, because that is a feature of them. It does increase crew casualties, so... that would have to factor into it. Yeah, the high hit strength of the mass drivers is definitely helping them chew through the hull on these things. Have I... oh, I did lose one Vanguard, because... of course I did. But it's a Vanguard, so whatever. Look at him go. He triggered the mantle and just kind of back-spun into his teammate. That's funny. For fights like this, Kinetic should have ammunition too. I mean, the earlier versions of the game did have ammunition. The problem was that you could stall them out and wait for them to run out of ammunition. And that's not good for the game. Bro, you just rammed into it. Did you see that guy right at the end? He rammed into a piece of debris for no reason, and then that triggered his Shrouded Mantle, so he then flew backwards into the other Vanguard. That's like a Looney Tunes skit come to life. That's good. He just hated it this much, yeah. Alright. Now, unfortunately, I am, again, really tired. Oh, one cooler guy celebrating with another 20 people getting sent into the... You're not getting sent into the Talons, you're piloting the Vanguard. All plasma burn ships. Alright. I'm going to pull up a notepad. Okay, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to pull up a notepad. And you guys give me some suggestions. Alright. All plasma burn. I like that. That's a good gimmick. Anything else? Griffin spam. Sure. We can throw that in. Hounds? Nah, I don't think we can do hounds. We could throw in a couple hounds for fun, but not as like the core of a fleet. Redacted versus old redacted. So, Radiant. Beam Paragon plus Glimmer. Alright. HMG Legions. Sure. All phase ships. Why not? Oh, that's right. We should do Condor spam. You throw that one in. Prometheus 2, because that one didn't get its chance. Yeah, well, we did Disco Paragon, but we didn't do Disco... But it was just the Paragon that was Disco. Right? If we do Disco Paragon plus Disco Glimmer, now that's a real ball. I guess we should do a safety override fleet at some point. That's true. Shroud on Astrals. Yeah, I don't think that's gonna. That's just not gonna do anything. They're gonna jump backwards and then die 2 seconds later, anyways. Oh, there we go. Apex with Shrouded Techno. Shrouded Apex. Ah, yes, of course. Shroud on Omens, so that they can. They're gonna die, but then they're gonna die instantly as soon as they get hit in the hull. But then their debris is gonna get ejected backwards. It'll be a post-mortem mantle. Oh, only venture variants. All 3 ventures. Okay. Alright, I think that's a decent number of them. Now I'm going to put that into a WordPad because I am actually really tired. So I think we're going to... Oh wait, did I just... Oh, I shouldn't have saved. Oh well, I think there's still second strikes. They'll be fine. Oh, speaking of, I guess I should give chat a second point. It's funny how chat's doing better against Threat than they did against Doritos. That's hilarious. But yeah, I am very tired, so I'm going to pick this up again on Sunday, and I'm going to pull up this. I'm going to pull up this document, and we can use some of the ones you suggested today. Thank you all for showing up, and I'll see you next time.